Camilla Belich.
Again, to the Minister for his answer in that I can't reconcile the two answers that the Minister has just given, which the first one appeared to be that it wouldn't include medical information, it would just include payroll information that the employer would need in order to know, who they're employing and what they're paying them, which I don't think anyone's objecting to. But then when I suggested by amendment, the Minister said, well, he wouldn't like a bespoke definition of employment information in this bill. Would he accept a different definition of the information, perhaps the information to be transferred or relevant employment information, therefore making sure that it was specific to this Act and only included the information that was available? Because I'm sorry, Mr Chair, I cannot reconcile his first answer, which was that medical information would not be relevant, and his second answer to say, well, it may be relevant and we don't want to make sure it's excluded.
Mr Chair. I think we can close that off with a few words that the member herself just said, only the information that's available. Well, sorry, available from whom, to whom, for what purpose. She's trying to create a definition that unfortunately is going to create more difficulty than harm. At the moment, it is information relevant to a person's employment, and that means information that will be useful for ensuring the terms and conditions of the new employment are suitable for the person and no less favourable than the employment conditions that they had previously. That's a justifiable purpose of this bill and of charter schools in general, and that's why we think that actually, as it reads well and should remain as it is.
Mr Chair.
It just feels like being in a bit of a stalemate just there.
Yeah, neither of them are really winning this battle because they're both very short and similar with their answers. So it's not one of those easily won battles, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think the two, Camilla and David Seymour, are definitely not going to agree with each other. I think David Seymour is trying to create a new employment law through the introduction of this bill, and I think that in itself is a little bit concerning. Something that we should be really quite worried about. I just don't understand why he didn't adopt the current Employment Relations Act, which has been, in place for since 2000. For over 20 years, and is generally accepted by everybody. But he's trying to bring in new terms and conditions, new concepts, and in this context, around the piece that was just played, it was around information sharing and medical information that's even more high risk than employment information, for the reasons that we just discussed previously. Some people are happy to share their medical information. Other people are completely not. It's a private thing. It's something that someone has a very personal view on, and it shouldn't be something that should be subject to legislation. If you're happy to share your medical information, that's fine. You may not be. That's very personal.
Yeah. But can we at least agree that the employment legislation is out of date and does need a freshen up of some kind, even if we don't go with the idea that I like and with the idea that Seymour wants, that I particularly like? Can we agree that it's almost 25 years old and we do need a freshen up of some description?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, Blake. I don't know whether it is out of. I mean, it is 25 years old. That's right, but I don't know whether it's not functioning to the point where it needs to be rewritten. That I haven't heard any overwhelming calls for it to be rewritten.
I wouldn't say rewritten, but I would say certainly, if you want to look at it from a wider perspective, I certainly believe if we were looking at it from a disability perspective, it needs to be a bit of freshen up.
Oh, well, that's a different question. That's a very different question.
Yeah, compared to sharing information that may or may not want to be on there. I mean, there was one that happened in the West Coast where a female teacher was HIV positive and was on treatment. But because of the lack of understanding of the community, the school decided to hold a public meeting about her illness. And it later ended up with the school going, we're completely aggrieved here. We needed to know that. And it's just like, it's under treatment. You know, but that is an example of where a health situation has sat there and happened where it's blown out of proportion and the ERA had to step in and make a massive payout in favour to this, teacher, because along with the community, along with the school board, along with the principal, had the backing to do the wrong thing. And that was something on there, and it was based on a piece that she wrote and stuff about, being HIV positive. You know, she was being grilled about how she caught it, her sexual patterns and all that sort of thing. 20 years after the diagnosis.
Mm.
Well, I came back right at the right time, didn't I?
Yeah.
Have you been listening in for?
No, sorry, I had a phone call I had to take. It sort of popped up unexpectedly.